All right, boys and girls, today we're on lesson 3.5 on page 165, model with arrays. So today we're going to learn more about arrays, what they are, how they work, all that good stuff. And like always, we're going to start right here with unlock the problem. It says, many people grow tomatoes in their gardens. Lee plants 3 rows of tomato plants with 6 plants in each row. How many tomato plants are there? Right here, it says you can make an array, that's an important word, by placing the same number of tiles in each row. Make an array with 3 rows of 6 tiles to show the tomato plants. The reason we have 3 rows of 6 tiles, we look back up at the top again, it says 3 rows. And rows go side to side, so that would be 1, 2, 3 rows like that, okay? Don't draw that, I'm just showing you what 3 rows looks like, okay? And then we also have 6 plants in each row. So if I draw that, I have 1 row here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants, that's 2 rows, and my third row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. This is an array right here, okay? I have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and there are 6 in each row, all right? It's important when you draw your array to have your rows lined up, okay? And then when you make your circles, that they are also kind of lined up. All right, we want to keep it organized and neat. Makes it much easier to count and figure out what our number is if everything's nice and neat and laid out correctly. All right. Move down a little bit further. Find the total number of tiles. All right, so we have 3, that's the number of rows, times 6, the number in each row. Here's another way we can think of that. We have 3 rows of 6. We're used to hearing that explained as 3 groups of 6, but when we have arrays, we can think of it as 3 rows of 6. So 3 rows, 6 in each row. Okay, and then you can count you can count these, or if you know the multiplication fact, that's great. If you need to grab manipulatives or something, that's fine. If you want to skip count by 6s, you can do that as well. 6, 12, and then 6 more is 18. Whatever you need to do to get that answer accurately, that'll work, right? It's 3 times 6 is 18. So there are 18 tomato plants. Okay. Let's look over here in this corner. I think this is an interesting question here. It says, does the number of tiles change if you turn the array to 6 rows of 3? Okay. The number of tiles doesn't change, but the multiplication problem does. So we had over here 3 times 6, or 3 rows of 6. Here we now have 6 rows of 3, 6 rows of 3. And that equals 18. Still equals 18, right? That one equaled 18, the other one equaled 18. That's called the commutative property of multiplication. Let's go to the next page, please. 166. Okay, here it says to use 8 tiles. Make as many different arrays as you can using all 8 tiles. Draw the arrays. The first one is done for you. And we'll have some problems like this on quizzes and tests. And I have a strategy for you that you can use, okay? First thing you're going to do is always start with just 1 row. And here we have 8 tiles, so they use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. All 8 tiles in 1 row. That's always the strategy. Start with 1 row, okay? And from there, I like to then make use the commutative property, right? So we had 1 times 8. If we use the commutative property, we can go over here. we switch these two factors around right here, this one and that one, we switch them around, and now we get 8 rows of 1, or 8 times 1, and we can draw that out. 8 rows of 1. There's a row of 1, row of 1, row of 1, row of 1. So far I'm at 4 of them. 5, 6, I'm going to go to the top here, 7, 8. That's 8 rows of 1. Remember, rows go sideways. So that's a row, that's a row, that's a row, that's a row, right? And there's only 1 in each row, so 8 times 1. So I easily came up with my first two. I went with 1 row, and then I used the commutative property to switch those two factors around. 1 times 8 became 8 times 1, and then I was able to make 8 rows. Okay. Next thing I always do is see if I can make 2 rows. Can I make 2 rows? Well, 1 row, 2 rows, right? So 1 row will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the second row will have 4, and I've used up 8 tiles. I now have 2 rows of 4, right? Row of 4 and a row of 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. And again, I can use the commutative property to switch those two factors around. 2 times 4 becomes 4 times 2, which is 4 rows of 2. And I can draw that picture easily. There's a row of 2, I'm up to a total of 4. Another row of 2, I'm up to a total of 6. And another row of 2, I'm up to a total of 8. Okay. So what I did, I started with 1 row, and I used all my tiles. And then I used the commutative property and made 8 rows. And then for C, I thought about, okay, can I make 2 rows? And that worked out. And then I used the commutative property again and switched that to 4 rows of 2 instead of 2 rows of 4. So we can make 4 different arrays using 8 tiles. All right, let's look at share and show. I want to do number 1 with you. And you can, if you're comfortable, pause the video, do it on your own, and then restart the video to match your work with mine. I'll give you that opportunity now. Okay, here I go. I look at this array right here. It has 2 rows, 1, 2 rows. So we have 2 rows of something. Now I have to count them. I'm going to erase all this. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 in each row. So I have 2 rows of 10. And I know that multiplication fact. I know what 2 groups of 10 is. Or we can skip count by 10. That's 10, and 10 more is 20. So 2 rows of 10 equals 20. 2 times 10 equals 20. All right. Please do 2 and 3 here in show and share on your own. When you're done, bring it to me. I'll check it, and then you can move on to your assignment. Use the strategies we've talked about with arrays. If you need to look back at these 2 pages, please do that to help you out on your assignment. As always, boys and girls, this is Mr. P, and I am out.